This is my new trio quad base design, the Oni. This base features a tight compound and funnel wall design, a spacious and efficient starter unit, an open core with tons of box space, a unique early game shooting floor with bedrooms and respawns, and finally a roof design that offers even more great peaks, respawns, and everything you'd ever need. Hello guys, my name is Nine and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new around here, leaving a like and subscribing would greatly help everything that I do here. Furthermore, you guys want to see the cost and the upkeep of the base at this point. So on screen now are those numbers. We're looking at 60k stone, 47k metal, and basically no high qual. Be aware this is a single TC base, meaning all the upkeep will be on the main TC as we don't have any externals. Alright guys, let's get into a build. Alrighty guys, before we build the base, obviously we need to go on a little tour. So this is a single TC base, meaning there are no externals. Obviously you should add some for some anti-grief protection, but other than that, it's meant to be a snowball base. So, coming into one of our two gatehouses, we have these peaks in the compound. They're known as particular peaks. They give some nice angles, and all around. On either side of us, we have shotgun traps that go to our furnace funnels. They operate like this. The only way after these walls are broken they can come through is going to be this section right here, and they're facing shotgun traps, which make them obviously pretty difficult and annoying for raiders to deal with. Above these are also auto turrets on either side, as it's mirrored. And then going into our next funnel wall type portion, we have bedrooms, peaks, more shotgun traps, as you can see. Very useful in this section here. They have to peek it and take damage from it, along with bedrooms on these corners. An auto turret to watch the bottom of these peaks. And as you can see, every angle is just really nice and watched. It's very beautiful. And then we also have this little peak up here above this auto turret. The jump is a little annoying, I do apologize. But it also gives some nice peaks outside of compound that are nice little head glitches. Alrighty. Now there are two entrances into base, one on each side of these sections. And going through the airlock, we can jump up to our next level. Up top is our open core, but down to our left is our starter unit, so we're going to go down there first. We have lots of furnaces, good amount of box space. Obviously I left some space open for electric furnaces, is what my ideology is here, and just a little snaking door path to our main TC. You're going to get about 22 hours on here, and with it being a snowball base, that's perfectly fine. The upkeep really isn't that bad, especially for a quad. Trio quad is what this is made for. So, going back up to our little bit of an open core. Now this is just an open loot room with a lot of box space. You have 6 boxes in each of the big loot rooms and 4 in these top sections. And mirrored from the other side of that being the drop down to our starter, the other side just has a locker. Jumping up to the next section, as you can see here, 4 boxes, locker, and a single door airlock that goes out to our technical shooting floor. And the other side we just have our tier 3 instead of that locker. Coming out to this section here, you see our little mini shooting floor. Utilizing one of the building skins, you get this conditional to not appear, and it gives you peaks like this. They become very useful for holding your gatehouse. Then lots of obviously peaks to our little compound, all that stuff. More peaks along the sides like this. And then our mountain roof type peaks up to here, which also are just head glitches. Just tons of angles. And then the single door takes us up to one of our bedrooms and our roof peaks. So we have these ankle biters on either side, beds, lockers, the whole deal. And it obviously goes to our roof, which I think looks beautiful. Above here we have more bedrooms, but first we're gonna go to this section, housing an auto turret and more mountain roof type peaks. And I opted, instead of doing wide gaps, we're doing these just technical door peaks that just offer the peaks into compound that we're needing. This makes it so there are literally no blind spots on any angle of the base. There's no blind spots. Every angle has at least 1 to 2 to 3 angles that can shoot everything, and that makes it beautiful. And then going further, we have just some basic ramp peaks to get over here. Low window peaks. Getting in for close and far. A ramp peak. And then another bedroom up top. Windmills go on top of these guys. And without further ado, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave a comment in the comment section below. Join the Discord otherwise, link is always in the description. And without further ado, let's get into a build. Alrighty guys, before we actually build the base, I know some people like to see the footprint, so here is that. So we're looking at in the center part, all throughout here is our starter unit. These are our rotation modules up to our open core and to our starter unit. Obviously honeycomb on these corners. These are wide gap technical modules that are more like door peaks, but they work great. Then obviously we have those early game shooting floor peaks right here, along with our gatehouses, our breach peak modules, and funnel wall type beat. And that's about it, guys. Alrighty. So be aware I do use a few commands throughout the entirety of the video to speed up the process, but for the most part I try to keep it as simple as possible. So starting off on the starter, you start with a triangle and a square, walling in the entire thing. Obviously you can start with just a triangle, but for our sake, this will work better. Double door here, and our TC like this. I place my TC as far back as possible, as it makes it easy to upgrade this foundation later. And then obviously door this guy off. Now in this section I'll usually add some furnaces, my early game workbench, and that is about it, along with some bags as well. But obviously we need to expand very quickly from this section, as that's how it works. Triangle, triangle, square, 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 walling in for the most part everything, except leaving this open with a double door frame. Double door frames throughout, sealing off the entirety of the top section here, then moving this double door out to the most dire section and adding another one to create an airlock. Now both these are going to turn into loot rooms, so adding shelves in here. I like to add ramps. And then as early as possible, obviously add garage doors in these sections as well. Add our double door frames in here. Excuse that. Turning on symmetry for a second here, I'm going to use it to place these boxes in these loot rooms. Obviously do whatever kind of loot rooms you'd like here. These are just what I will be doing in this video, as I find it the easiest. Just like that. Okay, coming to the outside section here, we'll continue our expansion process. So I'm going to lay the footwork of the foundations here, and that is pretty simple. In this section, we're going to add 2 triangles right there. Then off of all of these, we're going to add 1 more triangle like this. Excuse these for looking a little weird. I'm going to do a few things just to make it so they don't look weird. So this is technically what the foundations and footprint of the main base will look like. Right away, we can go ahead and honeycomb the entirety of the first floor, leaving these sections open. On the interior here, on the right side, we place a single door, window, make a simple jump up, sealing this guy in. And then continuing, we can add more honeycomb in this section. Seal this one off, wall this guy in, double door frame here, and 1 more like that. The reason we're leaving this honeycomb open for the temporary moment will make sense later, but for now, don't worry too much about it. I'm just making sure I'm doing everything correct here, so excuse me just flying around and pacing for a second. When you do this honeycomb too high, be aware. So if we're looking at this from an outside standpoint right now, on these sides, on these door sides, you actually want to add a half wall and then a window for the honeycomb. This is what it looks like from either side. You can now build these guys too high, sealing them off. We'll sheet metal them to kind of give the idea of this is where our shooting floor will be, off to here. I hope that makes some more sense. This side will also have the funnel wall. Just go into the interior and continue building. Add a half wall here with a double door frame. Another half wall in the middle with a triangle. I like to remove this double door at this stage and move it up 1 higher. And then move it like this. Sealing in our open core loot room like this. Another frame in here. Be aware, this ramp here will not place if these boxes here are placed like this. So pick up those boxes temporarily and add in that. And excuse that for upgrading to wood, I pushed the wrong button. Good. Add a square here, a triangle through the wall, and then a triangle back to get that shelf. Then we can place all of our open core boxes. Obviously do this at whatever point in time you find yourself needing them. I'll just be doing it now for the sake of convenience. This one's the easiest to place if you jump up into this section. Walling this section in here, window, single doors, sealing this entire section off, and adding a shelf in here with more boxes. I like to add a window here, and at this time, I'll create the single door airlock and remove this double door, sealing this top part off as well, and adding a half hole here. Be aware if you want more extra open core loot storage that's partitioned and annoying to get, the way we've done this is you can actually ramp this like this and add in more boxes up here. This is if you're really looking for extra storage. I didn't show it in the tour as this is an additional add-on that is up to you if you want to do, but it does add 2 more boxes and it's, you know, pretty worth it. Okay, going through this section, we can kind of see what we're working with. Over here is where we'll now build the next section. To build off of this guy, what we're going to do is place a square, triangle, or square, square, triangle off here. Triangle, square, or triangle, triangle, square. This is the footprint we'll be left with at the end of it. This is the module we want. Here's another look at it. Technically, this is decaying until we put up frames, so let's do that now. Add these 3 sheet metal, or 5 rather. These 2 to stone. Let's make our gatehouse now. Windows, the basics. Make sure to place your windows. Do the embrasures like I do here, as they will give better peaks in the end. Boxes here for those peaks. These only need to be wood. This. And then finally, this sheet metal frame here and here. This right now means that this module will not decay or anything. It will be perfectly fine. But we obviously need to keep expanding this, so put 2 more frames here, 2 here, 2 here, and 1 here. And I'll also go ahead and quickly make the turret pod module here as well, just so we know what it's going to look like at the end. Coming up to here, as sheet metal, I'll be adding that frame there. And then 1 more sheet metal frame, followed by 2 windows. After these windows are placed and it looks like this, you can go ahead and add these triangles. And for those of you wondering, this is what the peak looks like if you don't have a DLC skin. But obviously if you have the DLC skin, like Brick, that peak then becomes available. Ooh. Excuse me, I'm just toggling it back. Then obviously seal off the section here. Use half walls here, here. Then do the embrasures like I do here. These you want interior facing, and then these you want exterior facing. Same with these, interior facing. And this one is exterior facing. Do the embrasures like I do here, as the peaks will be better. They are more of a head glitch. If you do them the other way, the peak won't be as effective. You'll lose a little bit of visibility, and obviously no one wants that. Quick jumping back to our starter, or our entrance in here. Make sure to add your doors in here. And all your doors throughout this section. And touching back to the starter unit now, if you haven't already, add garage doors in these sections and add your furnace jump ups. You can do furnaces or whatever. In this case, I'll just be spamming furnaces as it's a very easy thing to do. Also, if you haven't already, HQM every piece of this roof. This one is accessible from the top, but also in the interior like this. You want to go ahead and upgrade literally everything you can see. This wall kind of gets annoying sometimes, but for the sake of this, get the foundation, get your wall, and then this is what the upgraded section looks like. I'll go through and upgrade everything very quick. It's just sheet metaling everything on the interior. You're good to go. Nothing technically needs to be armored except for what I've added. Love that. Here. This is all that needs to be armored technically, and the roofing tiles for it to be efficient. And yes, I did spam a lot of furnaces. Do whatever you want with that area. The other side, is going to get sheet metal like this. When you upgrade this wall, rotate it, and then add a battery in here. There's more room or different spots for batteries, but this is a very good early game one that I like to use for usually electrical furnaces that I usually add under this jump up. Okay. Now we'll be toggling back on symmetry per usual. Adding my garage doors throughout and coming back to this module. Now the floor frame, or floor grill rather, is placed from below. You come into basically right here. I'll add a temporary thing right here. Place it like this. This just makes this jump up much easier to then this single door here. Obviously place your single door. And what we'll do now is a half wall on each side, followed by a window, a full wall, and then a window on the interior. And doing that on every side, this is what you're left with. Place the proper embrasures, which is just all those. And then you can also add your beds and lockers in at whatever point you can. I like to place my beds like this, but it is personal preference. However you'd like to place them, do it. Now half walls here, half wall, half wall, half wall, half wall. Sealing this section in. This is just used for honeycomb to the open core to make it more expensive if you're getting top down. Now over to this section, we're going to add a double door frame, a floor, 3 windows, another double door frame, and seal this guy in. Adding the embrasures that I like. This is how I like to do this section. This one is more personal preference than the other ones below. Low wall. Technically, I like to just leave this wood. That's all it needs to be, just for the peak. And then obviously putting a door on top. And windmills then go on top of these sections immediately. They're high enough, if you can't tell. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. It's sitting up there. That's more than high enough for turrets for a small group. Apologize for the stuttering. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is come and build this section. A twig, you want to make a square, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, square, square. That's that section done. Sheet metal, sheet metal, sheet metal, sheet metal. These are not needed as foundations, technically. But for now, what we'll do is we'll add 2 sheet metal frames so this section does not decay, followed by low walls, a ramp, adding a half wall in here, and then adding the embrasures like this gives the better peaks. Now 2 full walls, window, double door frame. After you've placed these little modules, these triangles are no longer needed, but I do like to add these triangles here as they then make these peaks. Be aware upgrading this to brick is actually suggested, as it helps to block out that angle that would otherwise be there. And I'll show you what that looks like. See, this angle isn't used. Gives a little more of a peak. The little things are very helpful in these situations. Okay, next thing to place is a compound real quick before we finish the roof in the shooting floor module here. To place this, come to the gatehouse, and you're going to place the first wall off this gatehouse. I'll look to your left and try to find the best area, or best gapping in between here. The best way to do it is imagine as if there's a wall in this section. Be aware this is something you always want to practice on a server beforehand, as it is very difficult. That one looks pretty darn good. As you can see here, it's just slightly canted to the left, or interior rather. It's not just straight off. If it were to be straight off, it'd be like this. It's slightly interior. I know that terminology isn't perfect, but it is the best I can do. Again, pretty darn good. No barricades for this section. One here. Place this guy like this. Obviously I'm flying on this one, but you just place a piece of twig right there, and then remove it. Our turret locations that will now go up. This one's very important. And then we like to add our bedrooms here. I like the locker on this wall, and the bed on this one. double door. Okay. We'll place our large furnaces in a second, but first let's make the double chain link fence pods. 2 double door frames. Seal that off. Auto turret, double chain link. Oop. Okay. I'm going to place this large furnace. There are multiple ways to do it. The way that I suggest doing it is by standing about where I am right here and trying to pair the furnace as far to that right section over there as possible. And I push it back as far as it can, and realistically it only has one place to go. Usually this area is open like this, which allows for a funnel, and this section is obviously not. Same concept. Shove it as far off as possible. This should be open. If it is not open, it's okay. You don't have to redo it. But it's just an extra line of defense. And I don't have inventory for a shotgun trap, but now I obviously do. Turrets are pretty good in this section. You can actually place a shotgun trap through this guy right here, which is very weird, but it works. Those shotgun traps are obviously pretty darn useful for the angles they are holding. And now we continue by making the last part of the base, which is the whole shooting floor. I like to sheet metal this entire thing. Sheet metal, sheet metal, sheet metal. Sorry, not that high. Now half wall, window, 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 sheet metal. Now sheet metal floor. Oh. Sheet metal. These two like this, and then a floor frame like this. It just makes it look better. And then do whatever grade of these you like. I'll be switching these to brick, as it gives you more of a peak there. All turrets will go on these sections. Embrasures like this. And then triangle roof tiles like this. Okay. Now we place triangles off of here. Triangles off of here. And that is pretty much the entirety of the roof and base. So now what we're going to go over is final upgrades. And yeah, everything on the roof that is half height lowered should get sheet metal along with the top, just to annoy raiders. Coming into the interior here, sheet metal, all these roofing tiles. Everything else can stay stone. Jumping down yet again, everything on this interior can practically get sheet metal. As you see, I'm kind of walking through and just sheet metaling everything I can see. This one, rotate in, sheet metal that. Sheet metal, sheet metal, sheet metal. Sheet metal that is very, very key. When you come in the interior here, sheet metal this guy and rotate it. And off sheet metaling everything else that you can see. Coming down here, sheet metal this guy, and every roofing tile that you see as well, along with these guys in the bottom. Sheet metal this guy, rotate them, looking good. Come down here, make sure this is sheet metal for your drop down. And apologies for me not having a door frame here. Core is obviously fully upgraded, but if you are looking for more upgrades, the walls to upgrade are these two right here and this one. Those two will statistically give you the highest raid cost for the lowest amount of cost. Coming to the exterior of the base. Where your gatehouse goes in, this right here should be sheet metal. That's the statistically weakest point of the base, or rather what you want to be the strongest. The next thing to upgrade is everything on the first floor to sheet metal. Just everything. And obviously I've gone around the entire thing. Second floor technically doesn't matter as much. The first floor is much more useful. Same with these guys, upgrade this stuff to sheet metal. And if you have armored doors, these are the best spots for them, along with upgrading this right here. 3 high, and that is every upgrade that you need to be aware of. I do apologize, I did forget to place these guys. These metal barricades. I do apologize. But for the most part, guys, we have one more thing to add, and that will be it. Coming to this section, we build 2 double doors high, or 3 rather. Then a floor triangle like this to give you a head glitch peak here. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the interior. This is what it adds. Then as well from this section, you have to do some weird things. You place a double door frame off of this section temporarily. You'll understand why in a second. You got a triangle here, along with a triangle like this. You can now remove this, and it gives this peak. Now obviously this peak isn't super useful yet. We had a small box here. This small box gives that angle right there. That's what we're looking for. It's very weird, but it works very, very well. Every little meticulous peak in this space has been thought out, so. And the reason we don't leave this frame here is just to save on cost. It's not actually needed because the stability here is good enough. It only needs to be 8%. All right, that about does it for the base, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below or join the Discord. The link is always in the description. And yeah, all right, guys, I love you all, and I will see you in the next build.